So excited to welcome you on my first YouTube Live. I'm super excited that you're here. It is a fantastic topic that we have going today, and it's a topic that you came up with. So I'm super happy that we're going to discuss why the men that you like don't pursue you, and what to do about it. So if you're joining the call, I see people joining. Say hello. Tell me where you're coming from. Hi, Peggy. Hello, Mary. Welcome. Welcome, Joe. Or you're from London, New York. Amazing. Amazing. Welcome. Welcome. So today we're talking about this topic, why the men that you like don't pursue you and what to do about it. So, hello, hello. So have you noticed that the men that you don't want tend to pursue you, but the ones that you are drawn to, the ones that you like, they tend to pull away, they tend to disappear, or they never make a move? And that is why we have this topic today, which is a very, very important one. And I'd like to share a few things with you. First of all, I'd like to talk about why men admire you, but they don't take action. I'd like to talk about the number one shift that draws high quality masculine men closer to you. And I'd like to talk about what you need to stop doing immediately if you are tired of chasing or you're just feeling invisible, which can be absolutely exhausting. And I'd like to talk to you also about how to become magnetic to the kind of man that sees you and that will show up for you. So these are the topics that we're talking about today. Hello, everybody who have just joined. So glad that you're here. All right. So, and of course, there's going to be a Q&A at the end, so you can ask any question that you have. That is the purpose of this live, so that we can chat and I can answer any of your questions. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first one is why men admire you, but then they don't take action. Because this happens where, for example, they see you at a restaurant or at a bar from a distance, but they just do not approach you. And I just did a video on this, I think it was last week, on how to flirt. And I'll put actually the link in the description of this video. But really, this is very common where you see somebody from a distance and you hope that that gentleman that you see will make a move, but he doesn't. And often of course, there are reasons for this. One of the reasons is that, and this may surprise you, because a lot of women tend to think, that men just know what to do. Men, of course, they know what to do. And what I find quite helpful is to put ourselves in their shoes. So it's not easy to walk up to somebody in a public place or a restaurant and introduce yourself and try to flirt with someone and engage with them. It's not easy. So a lot of men, because of online dating, for example, they're used to engaging by text. They're not necessarily used to engaging, through in a physical, real life situation. So the first thing is they don't always know how. Also, one thing that's very common, and that is that women, we girls and we women go out in groups and we're laughing and we're having a great time. And this makes it difficult for a man to approach. So what can you do to help yourself? What can you do to help yourself in these situations to make it easier for him to approach you? And one of the ways that you can do this is to give him what I call the green light. So the green light approach is you want to open your body language. So if your body language is closed off and you're kind of looking down and you're not engaging with him in any way, even though you might think you are, this is going to give him a do not do not enter, do not come and approach me message. Whereas you want to have open body language. I actually did a video on body language. It's a fascinating topic. But you want to ideally have open shoulders, open your space, the way that you're looking at him, meaning your head is up, not down, your shoulders are back, and you want to ideally turn towards him wherever he is in the room. So let's say he's over here, you want to ideally turn towards him. You also want to make sure that you are smiling. Smiling is a huge gateway to show somebody that you are interested in engaging with them. And ideally, you also want to get close to them. So you want to be in close proximity with them. So you either go towards them, close to them, or you give them those good green light signs so that they feel comfortable approaching you. And also, one thing that's important in these situations is the ability to stay calm and positive and have a feminine presence. Now, when we're kind of nervous and fidgety and we see somebody that we like, we have a tendency to, maybe be a bit awkward, and there's nothing wrong with that. It happens. Give yourself a break. In fact, it's a lot of comedy films. They have scenes where people really like each other and they wind up tripping over things or, bumping into furniture, and it's quite comical. But you want to, if you can avoid that, you want to come from a place of calm, femininity, and just presence, and allow him to come in to your space and to approach you. Now, another thing another scenario is that a man may admire you from through his text messages. So you're exchanging through text messages, or you may have gone out on a few dates, and before you know it, you don't hear from him anymore. You're ghosted, or he just disappears. And this can be really, really hard, because the challenge is that many times we women in particular have a tendency to go on a first great date and get very excited. And before you know it, we're already planning our wedding and vacations. And oh my gosh, should we have a two-car garage, or should we have 3 dogs, and tend to project. And so when that person that we're engaging with all of a sudden disappears, it can be really disheartening. So why would a man engage with you and then disengage? Well, first of all, let's be honest. When somebody is, and it goes the same for women, when someone engages with us by text messages, it validates us. It makes him feel that he's validated. It makes his ego feel good. He says, gee, this woman is interested in me. This is fabulous. Or, I've invited her on a date or two and she's gone with me. It feels good. I feel wanted. I feel desired. And, that's just enough for him. Another thing is that they might not be looking for anything serious. They might have just come out of a relationship that they were in. They might be confused about what they want. They might be, as some of the dating profiles says, figuring out my dating goals. They might want intimacy without any attachment. So there are reasons that they engage with you in texts and then disappear, or go on a few dates and then disappear. Another reason is that they are emotionally unavailable. And this can happen because, and I know a gentleman in particular that I spoke with recently in his early 40s, and it really touched me because he'd sabotage his relationships before he even gives them a chance. So he said his longest relationship was about 5 months, and he's in his early 40s. And so it's a coping mechanism, and that actually has nothing to do with you. These examples that I've given, the good news is it has nothing to do with you. So the short answer is to not take it personally. We cannot take these things personally. Now, there are reasons that you might not be attracting a man in a romantic way. And here is the first one. It's called It's Just Life. You cannot take that one personally, because sometimes we just don't attract someone else, and vice versa. I'm sure that you've had instances where you've met a man and you thought, or you've gone on a few dates and thought, what, I'm just not attracted to him. And that's okay. Someone else will be attracted to you. Someone else will be attracted to him. So that's life. But there might be instances where you are actually creating barriers to your own success. And one of the ways that you can do that is by winding up chasing a man. So you're texting him all the time. You're initiating conversations with him all the time. You're doing all the heavy lifting because you really like him and you want him to like you. So the more you do, the more you think that that will drive things forward in the relationship. Now, the challenge is that doesn't always work very well and leads to disappointment. Another reason that you might not be attracting someone in a romantic way is that you are not engaging at all. So it's kind of the flip opposite of chasing. It's really, you're not engaging at all. You're kind of sitting so far back, you're playing it so cool that he doesn't think that you're interested in him. And there are actions to take so that he knows that you are interested in him, and he can gauge your interest by some efforts that you put forward. Now, the first energetic shift that draws high quality men closer to you, of course, you knew I was going to talk about this, and that is feminine energy. Now, feminine energy is so powerful. It is like a perfume. It is like a perfume that a man can't see, but he can smell and he can sense. It is very potent. I love the perfume analogy, actually. I just came up with that. Beautiful. And if you don't know about feminine energy, we all have masculine energy. We all have feminine energy. It's the degrees to which we have each and in what scenarios we use them. So, for example, in a work environment, having masculine energy is a very positive thing. It helps women with leadership, with decision-making, with logical thinking, with all of these things that help women get ahead professionally. But when it comes to a personal romantic relationship with a masculine man, this doesn't often serve us. And to the contrary, it is really something that can repel a masculine man and have him literally run the other way, ghost or disappear. Now, if you are not familiar with feminine energy, and even if you are familiar with feminine energy, I really encourage you to get my free ebook on feminine energy. The link is in the description of this video, and I will also drop it here so that you can get it. And once you have this feminine energy ebook, it will be your introduction to, like I said, feminine energy. And also, the more we know about feminine energy, the more we master it. But the basics are so important, and we cannot, even myself, can't be reminded enough of the basics. It's about getting back into being who we are, the essentials of who we are in our feminine essence. It's about feeling amazing. It is about feeling connected. It is about feeling centered. And that is a place where you draw in masculine men from a place of your most powerful center. And it's literally like bees being drawn to honey. I can guarantee it. I practice this myself. My clients practice this, and it is very, very potent. Also, if you're interested, I have one slot that's opening to work with me one-to-one. You can send me a direct message on Instagram if you would like to claim that spot, because I do a very limited amount of mentoring one-to-one sessions. And if you'd like to claim that, then this is your opportunity to do so. All right. So the next point I wanted to speak with you about on this live is what you need to stop doing immediately if you're tired of chasing or you're tired of feeling invisible. It's really exhausting to be in the mode of running after men that we meet, chasing men that we meet, making all the efforts, feeling invisible. It can be demoralizing. It can be exhausting. And I don't want you to do that anymore because it's not necessary. You're causing a lot of extra complication for yourself. So the first thing to do is to stop focusing on him, if there's one person you have in mind, or to stop focusing on them, as in men in general, and redirect all of that energy back to yourself. Redirect it all back to yourself. Now, what I don't want you to do when I say that you redirect this energy to yourself is that you close the doors, close your heart and say, okay, done with dating. I'm never doing men again. That's it for me now. It's to come from a place of redirecting your focus away from being the one who is driving towards the man, making the efforts towards the man, chasing the man. And what happens when we are in that type of energy is we get what I call pick me energy. It's the pick me, I'm here, please pick me. And then there's also the look at me energy. A lot of women dress very provocatively and they do everything they can to, really put on a show, and they're not really in their authentic self. So let's stop chasing him, not do that again. Men are hunters. They do not want to be chased. They want to be doing the chasing. So dial back all of that beautiful energy that you have in you back to yourself and start by doing some things that feel good to you. That can be very simple things like getting a manicure done, if that is a happy place for you, or doing a meditation, or coming up with a new activity that you've always wanted to do, like join a music class or play an instrument or go to a dance class. It has to be something that brings you joy, brings you happiness. And again, it gets back to the focus on yourself and your being, not being an action for him, being an action and connected to yourself. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is how to become magnetic to the kind of man that sees you and that shows up for you. And it really is a combination of all of the things that we've talked about on this live so far. And that is, when you do the inner work, you are going to come from a place that allows you to connect with your feminine energy. And when you plug in, tune in, tap into that feminine energy, that is when you send out energy that will bring in masculine men and be magnetic. But also, you want to understand the language of men. And I actually have a course that I am in the process of putting together on feminine energy and the mastering the language of men. If you are interested in getting on the wait list, please send me a direct message on Instagram and you'll get a special price before the program is launched when you're on the wait list. So that is the topic for today, ladies. I'm so happy that you joined. And let's get into answering some questions. Okay, so I have one question here that I received, and that is, I'm always the one to start a conversation with a guy that I'm dating. I really like him. He only answers when I text first, or I don't hear from him. What should I do? Okay, so this question is from Kelly. So thank you, Kelly, for the question. All right, so the first thing is if you are always the one starting the conversation with this gentleman that you're dating and that you really like him and that he only answers when you text him first and you don't hear from him otherwise, what I would suggest is that you consider pulling back in your conversations, in your text conversations, and to see if he initiates. Because if he is only in reactive mode, it shows that he's not in active mode. It shows that he's in a passive type relationship with you, whereas you are the one driving and he is the one responding. So if you pull back and see if he initiates the conversation, not once, but multiple times, then you can create a different type of flow between you. So see if he does initiate the conversation. That'd be the first thing. The second thing is I would say is, what actions is he taking to court you? If he only texts you and he doesn't set up dates or he doesn't call you, and I assume that that is the case, because you haven't said that you've really gone out on dates or anything in your question here. You just say that you're initiating texts with him. So if he is only texting with you, I would question how much of a priority you are, because at some point, men usually that are motivated, they will want to move to see you in person. They will not want to keep texting unless they consider you to be a text buddy. And if you're a text buddy, if that is what you want to do and that makes you happy, then by all means continue texting. But texting can only go so far. And there's a danger with texting, and that is we create a false perception of someone. We think that someone is a certain way because text is so misleading. The best thing is to meet in person. And actually, it's quite interesting because the next question that I have here from Sally is, I've been texting with a guy for weeks and I really like him, but he doesn't ask me out. Should I ask him out? So that is, oh, hold on a minute. I'm just going to respond here. Okay, so getting back to the question here, I've been texting with a guy for weeks and really like him, but he doesn't ask me out. Should I ask him out? So if you are exchanging with a masculine man, I don't suggest you ask him out. However, if he is texting you, he could fall into the text buddy category, or he could fall into a different category of a man who doesn't have an intention to ask you out. He's just spending time. So I would suggest that you say something simple to him, and that is, "Hey, Joe," whatever his name is, "I'm not much into texting. To be honest. I would love to hear your voice." And then give him your phone number. And then if he responds and he keeps trying to text you, then you can decide whether you respond. But you want to get him out of the text scenario and into a real life scenario on the phone, and ideally in real life. So I hope that answers the question. Okay, any other questions? I don't see any other questions for today. So I'd like to thank you all so much for joining me. I'm thrilled that you joined me on this YouTube Live, and I can't wait to see you next time. And as usual, I'm sending you lots of love.